When you encounter a broken cast iron flange, there are a variety of different repairs, but they may require some additional work. There's a piece of metal called a flange spanner. But if your old cast iron flange is tight down against the floor, then you can't slide it under there without chipping the tile. And remember, you'll have to put your closet bolt in first. And you'll have to chip out some tile so that you can get that flange spanner under there to hold your bolt in place. Also available is just a flat overlay ring that'll lay right over top of your closet flange. There again, you'll have to put the bolts in first. And they put holes in here that you'd have to drill right through the cast iron. And drilling through an old cast iron flange could be a considerable job. It's pretty hard to drill through cast iron. And the problem I've encountered using these is these outer stub outs. I've had to take my grinder and grind them off because when I tried to set the bowl, they were hitting the china around the closet horn. They were rubbing up against the china. I couldn't get the bowl to sit down flat on the floor. All of these items will work, but we would rather just replace the entire flange and go back in with either a cast iron flange replacement or possibly a twist and set. We've gone over the installation of a twist and set replacement flange, but we want to touch on other replacement flanges that are available on the market. Now, you might have a 3-inch riser, and then you would go to the 3-inch twist and set. Now, I have run into a bit of a problem on these because of the inside diameter. It's a smaller pipe, so obviously the flange is going to be smaller. I worked on one toilet where I had to use the 3-inch twist and set, and when I went to set the toilet, the closet horn actually set on this plastic inside here. And because of the way the pipe came up through the floor, the flange was tilted at a bit of an angle. I couldn't get it flat down on the floor. So what I had to do was cut out the ceramic tile and set the 3-inch twist and set below the finished floor level so that I could get this plastic away from the horn of the toilet. So then to make up the difference of recessing the flange, I used a spacer kit. This is a spacer ring. Now, a spacer kit comes with rings like this, but it's also got a neoprene gasket, one for each side. If you had to use something like this, you could seal one side with silicone, put it down on your flange to raise your height, and then set your wax gasket. So just remember that if you do have to use a 3-inch twist and set, you might run into a problem, especially with some of the new high efficiency toilets that have a much larger closet horn. You might encounter a problem where that toilet actually sits on that plastic. So you're going to have to find a way to make up for the differences in that. There's another 4-inch replacement flange available on the market. This one actually has 3 stainless steel Allen screws inside of it. And you drop that down in the pipe and tighten those Allen screws, and it actually swells that gasket to get a good seal on the inside of the pipe. Now there's also, see the depth on those? They're pretty long. Now you might run into a situation where you need something that is shallower because your closet bend is so close to the floor, especially on a second floor application. You can get these push inserts. You just put a little bit of grease on this gasket and push that down inside the pipe, and then use the screw holes to fasten it to the floor, whether it be concrete or wood floor, the appropriate screws to fasten that down. But you can see these are both for 4-inch. One has a double flange gasket. One's a little deeper than the other, but they make such a variety for a lot of to cover any situation that you might encounter.